All right, let's get started. Lesson number 13. So we're going to find equivalent ratios given the total quantities. So what we're looking at here is, and actually let's stop here a second. We're going to skip on down to, that's too far. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, this is the one that we want. All right. The noodles here. All right, noodles and cheese and pan sizes there. So it's the very last problem there. So page number 8, I believe you're going to be on there. So what we are after here is a lot of the times when we saw tables, we just saw two sets of numbers in our table. We just saw this, and that was it. But now we've got three sets of them. And the whole idea is we'll have to use our imagination just a little bit, but we can write equations to solve for missing amounts. So what we're going to do here first is we're going to work with this first column and with this second column. Now, if you notice here, I labeled it as X and Y because it really doesn't matter from the standpoint of who comes first. What's important there is if I call this X and Y, this is what we go back to with our let's name. So let X equal noodles, all right, and we're going to let Y equal cheese, all right. So if I do that, I know to find my constant. We do Y divided by X. So in this particular case, I need the Y over the X. So I need the Y, which is the cheese, and the X was the, okay, so I need to put the cheese over the noodles. So I can grab whoever I want in my chart, but there's really only one person I'm going to take. Who's that? Yeah, I'm going to grab these two because I need the two numbers in order to find the constant. So again, the cheese goes on top, so there's your 3/4, and we're going to divide it by 3. So I'm going to multiply here by the LCM, which is 4. Bye-bye. So we get a 3 here. I get a 12 here. So when I do simplify that, I get 1/4. So my equation here is Y equals 1/4 X. Now I can use this equation to solve for any one in these particular columns. Now I can't use it with this one because I don't have information about either of them there. So that one's done. So let's go to this guy. The 1/4. The 1/4 is with the cheese, and the cheese was with the Y. So I'm going to put 1/4 with my Y, and then I'm going to go end up solving. All right. Now this kind of works out kind of nice. Mental math is nice. 1/4 times what number is 1/4? Yeah, it's going to end up being a 1 that's there. Now again, mathematically, we're multiplying by the reciprocal. Well, what is 1/4 times 4 1? Yeah, it does give me 1 that's there. So that's where that piece is coming from. So to find this particular guy, all right, again, I can use my Y equals 1/4 X. But if we notice the 2/3, the 2/3 is the noodles. The noodles was the X. So I'm going to throw in 2/3 in for X. So I'm going to do Y equals 1/4 times 2/3. Now again, that's the important part. We want to make sure that you're comfortable with that. Oh, a little cross division, a little bit of 1/6 that we've got. So there's your 1/6 that would go in there. So again, all we're doing is we're plugging in, but you've got to make sure you know who your X is and who your Y is. So let's take care of this other guy that we've got here, the 5 1/3. 5 1/3 is with the noodles. The noodles is with the X. So when it says Y equals 1/4 X, I'm going to plug in 5 1/3 in for, for X. So in order to multiply this out, 1/4 times a little improper fraction. So 15 plus 1 is 16, so 16/3. Oh my goodness, cross division. There it is. So Y equals 4/3, which is really 1 1/3. So either of those particular guys I would end up taking. All right. So we've done that. The other thing is we can actually figure out all these guys because this is the pan size. So it tells you that when you do your pan size here, actually, let's look at that. Read that question for a second. Okay, so they don't do the best job of explaining it here, and this is one where you'd ask a question on a test, and I'd go, all right, let me make that change for next year. What you're looking at there is we're looking at our cups of noodles, our cups of cheese. So the pan size has to hold the total number of cups there. So really what we're doing here is we're just getting ourselves an addition problem that's going on. So if I take 5 1/3, add it to 1 1/3, all right, I get 6 2/3. Nice. Common denominator already. What's another nice one? Well, 1 plus 1/4 is Yeah, 1 1/4. 3 plus 3/4. Yeah, well, yeah, 3 3/4. So this guy, I need a common denominator here. So 2/3 is the same as 4/6. Now I can add it together and get to my 5/6. Now the only thing I wasn't able to solve was for these two particular guys, and this is where I can tell you to use your imagination a little bit. What we always need are two columns, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change my let statement. All right, I'm no longer going to use this as x and y. I'm now going to call the cheese x and the pan size y. Now this is legal here. We're changing it because I'm using this to solve for the information in these two columns, not for the noodles column. So if I'm going to say let x equal cheese now, again, before I said it was y, but that's when I was dealing with these two. And now I'm going to say let y, all right, equal the pan size. All right, we're going to let y equal the pan size. So we'll still do y over x. Okay, and I can grab any of these to end up using. Let's see here, y is the pan size. I'll grab the first one here. So that's 3 3/4. And we're going to divide it by x, which is the cheese. And so, oh yeah, 3/4 there. All right. So let's see here. 12, 15, 15/4 divided by 3/4. LCM is 4. All right. So bye-bye. We get 15 over 3. Oh, dear goodness, that's 5. So my equation here is y equals 5x. Now again, we're using x's for cheese and the y's for the pan. So if I know my pan size is 5, all right, the pan size matched up with the y, so I'm going to put my 5 in for my y, and we solve this equation. Oh my goodness, look at that. Yeah, you get 1. So there you go. All right, let's come on down over here. Again, I know I'm using y equals 5x. I'm going to draw like a boundary line here. And they gave me the pan size. The pan size is the y, so I'm going to plug in the 5 5/8 in for the y. All right, we'll plug that in there. So I'm going to divide both sides by 5, and oh, here we go. Okay, so 40, 45/8. All right, over, and then 5. You can make it 5 over 1 if you'd like. LCM is 8. All right, so when we do that, we're going to get a 40 down here. We're going to say bye-bye. So we just get a 45/40. All right, I can clean that up here. All right, 1 5/40, which is 1 1/8. So I know this is 1 1/8. All right, now I can work backwards to figure out the missing amounts because I know the noodles with the cups added together gives me the pan size. So what number plus 1 equals 5? Yeah, 4. All right, so what number plus 1 1/8 gives me 5 5/8? What do you think here? Did you say 4 4/8? Yeah, also known as 4 1/2. I would take either of those. So again, the whole idea here is when you have 3 of them, that's fine. We're still going to do our normal x and y business here, okay? And we're still going to do our normal find our constant, write out our equation so that we can plug and solve for it. But once we've run everything we can do, we can define new variables. And now we can change it up in order to solve the missing amounts that we're looking at. So as you can see, that's the only reason why we need to take care of one of them, and we don't need to do 3 or 4 of these because it is kind of the same idea that's over and over again. Again, making up 2 equations, we're changing our let statements here. And as long as we stay consistent, as long as we kind of watch what we're writing down, we're not going to have many problems with this. The issues become is when you don't label it there. And that's what we want to make sure that we stay away from. All right. Yeah, you better, Forrest. All right. We'll see you guys later.